Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin' Robbie Billups, and it's time for my top 5 favorite comics of the week. That's right, everybody. Thanks for checking out the video. I am Rockin' Robbie Billups, and here on Pop Culture Philosophers, each week I list and rank my top 5 favorite new comics released on New Comic Book Day. DC, Marvel, mostly indies. Let's get right into it. At number 5, Firepower, number 20 from Image Comics. Written by Robert Kirkman with artwork by Chris Samnee, lettering by Russ Wooten, and coloring by Matt Wilson. Firepower has been great, and I keep saying that not enough people are singing its praises, but each time I talk about this book, I see a lot of comments of people talking about how much they love this book. Firepower is one of those things, though, that's a little bit more, it's crazy to say it's more subtle than Walking Dead, but should I say the response is more subtle than Walking Dead, right? That's the thing that got everybody pumped and hyped early on, even, especially with Invincible. But to me, this is one of Robert Kirkman's best books because he doesn't waste time here. It's just not a lot of talking heads. It has some of those moments. He's building character. He's got some great conflict going on, some interesting emotional type stuff too, but it just moves at such a brisk pace. Now, that is supremely aided by Chris Samnee's artwork, who is exceptional at breaking down an action sequence. Matt Wilson is pumping out some of his best coloring. His different levels of texture and shading and gradient stuff that he brings in there really make it pop. I think this is now standing above even things like Wicked and The Divine and his Thor work as some of his best coloring to date. And Russ Wooten's got a perfect lettering style that really blends in well with a book that has a big pace. We're 20 issues in. There was a Prelude graphic novel before that. Highly encourage you to check it out if you haven't. It's quick-paced, kung fu action, and now there's a giant dragon. This book just keeps getting better. At number 4, Flashpoint Beyond, number 1 from DC Comics. Written by Geoff Johns, Jeremy Adams, and Tim Sheridan, with art by Germanico and Mikel Hanan, coloring by Romolo Fariado, Jordi Belair, and lettering by Rob Lee. I like this book. It could be considered a cash grab, going back to the Flashpoint universe, bringing back Geoff Johns, having another Thomas Wayne Flashpoint Batman story. But it reads as so much more than that, right? First of all, yes, the triumphant return of Geoff Johns. He's been a little bit on the outs in the comic book industry, it seems, for the last couple years, but now he's back with work like Geiger, and now back at DC doing Flashpoint Beyond. And I wasn't initially that excited for a return to this world, but the mystery of how is this Flashpoint universe back? And of course, we're in the days of a crisis looming, so it could be any explanation, but I really like how Geoff Johns has kind of got his own explanations on hypertime and the metaverse and all that kind of stuff, and anything that was still left dangling from the end of Doomsday Clock, he's kind of addressing just a little bit here. The character Thomas Wayne, it works really well. This world, it's obviously the familiar Flashpoint world, but he's already gone far and beyond that. I was nervous when we found out that Geoff Johns was going to be working with co-writers here. Tim Sheridan's not a writer that I've really responded to well that much, but Jeremy Adams is doing a great job on Flash, but you still get that distinctive Geoff Johns voice throughout this book. The artwork is great and even has a nice little tease at the end that makes you go, what, huh? Anyway, really like it. Detective hard-boiled mystery, dark, but also kind of tied into this whole thread of the DC multiverse, omniverse, hyperverse, whatever the hell they want to call it. I'm liking it. At number 3, Metal Society, number 1 from Image Comics / Top Cow. Written by Zack Kaplan with artwork by Guilherme Balbi, coloring by Marco Lesko, lettering by Troy Peteri. Zack Kaplan is a really cool writer who usually hits with a really crazy concept. Top Cow has become known as an artist-heavy kind of imprint, right? Led by Mark Silvestri, Michael Turner got his big start there, and so on and so forth into today. Now, this is a great amalgamation of really cool high concept stuff and great character work by Zack Kaplan and really slam bang fantastic artwork. Balbi's artwork here is great. It's got a grit. It's got an edge to it, but it has this sense of movement. It has this sense of ferocity or something like that. It really helps accentuate the tones and themes of this book. What is the book about? Humanity has died off. Robots rule supreme. they've decided they're going to recreate humanity, right? So like in a lab, they recreate 100 humans and then 1,000. So there's these generations. And what do? They just do there to do menial tasks and things that the robots find beneath them. So it's a robot civilization that has recreated humanity. And now this humanity is fighting for their rights, fighting for equal opportunity and things like that, right? So they decide that they need to have a fighter represent the humans and a fighter represent the robots to make this big bang, like hugely popular fight, this bout, right? So it's this one woman representing humanity and this one robot representing the robots, the artificial intelligence, and they're going to fight, right? But the book is so much more than that. In this one, they dive into the human backstory a little bit, and they set up some interesting, mysterious stuff with the robot. So we haven't even gotten to the fight yet. It's really just like the announcing of it. But that's a great way to handle the exposition with the glitz and the glamour and all that stuff of like a big celebrity-focused boxing match or something. And the artwork was great. So it's a really cool concept, a really great world that's built and fleshed out. And then that artwork, like I said, just a great sense of furious movement that just keeps it just bam, bam, bam. I love this book. Can't wait for more. At number 2, Little Monsters, number 3, from Image Comics. Written by Jeff Lemire with artwork by Dustin Nguyen, lettering by Steve Wands. Little Monsters is one of those books that just keeps getting better and better. I thought the first issue was okay. It's basically Lord of the Flies, Children of the Corn, but a vampire story, right? Instead of just creepy kids, just for creepy kids' sake. So it's a pack of young vampires. They've been young forever, but they've been like led into this weird lie where they don't feed on humans and they don't even think that humans still exist. And they're just kind of out there on their own, struggling to survive. Some are getting a little anxious about that, wanting to go out and do more things. And then what happens when one finds out that humans still are alive and that human blood tastes pretty freaking good? Maybe gives you a little bit of a buzz. So it does have that Lord of the Flies type vibe. And the first issue was decent enough at setting up just the basic of concepts, but it never hooked me in. The hook was provided at the end of issue number 2, so I thought 1 and 2 would have been a perfect first issue exercise, all that. Issue 3, the density comes. The character work really starts moving forward and progressing, and just the meat of everything is there. It's a much more complex story at this point, and the artwork is frickin' fantastic. So the story has gotten more intriguing. The characters have become more engaging, but the artwork, I'm just enamored by it. So Dustin Nguyen's doing some black and white type stuff, not his watercolor, but he's using like screen tones and halftones and things like that, but he's doing it almost, it seems like he's doing a digitized version of Duoshade or something like that, right? And I really, really like it. He's like got penmanship in it, and it's like he's painting with these screen tones or something, and it's absolutely brilliant. And having just recently been doing a deep dive on the old school Eastman and Laird Turtles books, it's just right up my alley. So I love the approach to the artwork, making it like different than other stuff from him, but still distinctively Dustin Nguyen. And with the story amping up and the artwork just continuing to deliver, this book's getting better, like I said, issue to issue. And at number 1, Once and Future number 25 from Boom Studios. Written by Kieran Gillen with artwork by Dan Mora, coloring by Tamara Bonvillain, lettering by Ed Dukeshire. Once and Future is under the radar, one of the best books on shelves, and even sometimes I kind of forget about it and let it lull in the back of my mind. But then it will come out with an issue like this, especially on a smaller week, and it was a smaller week, and it just stands out above and beyond all the rest. So Once and Future, anchored by amazing artwork from Dan Mora. I do not need to convince any of y'all that Dan Mora is an amazing penciler, especially in big, adventure-oriented, bombastic superhero comics and just other indie comics. He had amazing work on Klaus, amazing work on Go-Go Power Rangers, his Batman stuff, World's Finest. The artwork is top-notch, but Once and Future, he's been doing that for years there, and it's absolutely fantastic. Tamara Bonvillain really stretching as a colorist in the pages of this, providing atmosphere that is literally, not literally, figuratively, I should say, that word, we need to take that word back, providing work that is figuratively like leaping off of the, I don't even know where I was going. It's atmospheric as hell, and it's awesome. I messed up everything by saying literally, but Once and Future is great. So this is a story about King Arthur There's this like group of people that study story, like almost like mythology, lore, legend, story, and things like that. But it's all true, and it all exists in this other plane that sometimes can break into our world. And people have used this. A sect of these type of people have used it to resurrect King Arthur. But King Arthur is like not a good dude, and he's like a monster, and he's like a zombie king, and all this kind of stuff, and he just wants to go kill all the Anglo-Saxons. So it's all of that, and then you have all this other Arthurian lore type stuff coming in, and things from that era. They've used Green Knight, they've used Beowulf, they used Lancelot, the Round Table, all that stuff. And now they're introducing Robin Hood, but tying Robin Hood into a concept that predates the Robin Hood story, and I really like it. Something visceral, something feral, something ancient out in the woods that does not like the progression of man, and how kings represent that. So I love the book. It's top-notch, spot on. The characters are always great. It's totally perfectly realized, and it would make a really great TV series or something like that, but just makes a fantastic comic in and of itself. If you have not been reading Once and Future, this is your time to decide to jump in, because it's a light week. So anyway, that's what I read. Those are the top 5. What are your top 5 favorite comics? What were your favorites of the week? Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for checking out the video. I've been Rockin' Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And join us over at patreon.com/PCP if you want to help support the channel. Station. Pop, pop, boom.